Welcome back. Today in the studio, we've got Alicia Trevino of Alicia Trevino, Century 21, and she's got offices in Uptown and Mesquite in Dallas. And we're talking about the mortgage market and also the real estate market. And we were talking in the last segment about buying with vision. And if you're a buyer and you're thinking about buying, maybe you're in an apartment, maybe you've got a house to sell and you're moving to the next step. Right now, you've got to get off the bench and in the game. The reason you have to do that is because rates are going up. That house is going to cost you more because the prices are going up. So I think this summer, we've got a few more months left of summertime moves before the school year starts, and that's when we're most active right now in the summer for the buyers. And so what we started to talk about was how to buy with vision. And when you're walking in, like Dana and I walk into a home, we really don't have the vision of what it could look like. And we just walk in, and if we don't, it's almost immediate. Either we like it or we don't. We don't see it. How do you deal with people like us, Alicia, and how do you make sure we don't make a mistake of missing a real gem?
That is something that you just have to guide that client to. And, it's so funny that so many people can't see it because you don't really realize that there really is no vision, and that you do have to point out, hey, all we need here is to stain the hardwoods, to paint this a different color, to add, the appliances, the appliance package. So as a realtor, you have to know those costs and have an idea of what it is. And I've had such a huge advantage because I did the REO business, which was the foreclosure business. And in that, you had to give the bank value as is or value fixed up. So we got really, really good at estimating repairs because we did it over and over and over again. So it's such a huge advantage now when you're working with a buyer like yourself, because the only deal you're going to get today from if we can call it, deal perspective. Before we had all these houses, and the fact was that we had too much inventory, so you got a good deal because there was too much inventory.
Supply and demand.
Right. So today, where's the deal? Well, the deal is a house that hasn't already been updated, and you can walk in and with another 15 grand make this house a really nice home. So you have to have a vision of what it's going to look like, because a lot of sellers just don't want to go through the trouble. They're willing to lose 15 or leave 15,000, 20,000 on the table because they don't want to move their furniture out and replace the carpet and paint the walls. It just seems too much trouble. That's where your deal is today. So don't turn around and walk out on a house that may just need some updating and then can be a real gem.
Well, last week we had on the show David Rosenbaum of Premier Real Estate Solutions. And one of the things he was talking about was you always want to, if you're going to put $10,000 into a house, you want to get at least $10,000 in value. If not, you really want to get around $20,000 in value. So he talking about some specific rooms like the kitchen, the master bath, if for people that were buying as an investor, buying and flipping. Well, I think as a homeowner, you need to think like an investor, because I think that it's your money. And if you're not going to walk in and if you want to get dollar for dollar improvements, I don't know that that's the best. I mean, if I were going to sell you a stock and said, okay, you've put $10,000 in here, and in 5 years from now it'll still be worth $10,000, is that a good investment?
Mm-hmm.
I would rather invest the $10,000 now and be it worth $20,000 in 5 years and double my money. And so I think that's where it gets tricky in the real estate business. I think you really need to have an expert like yourself, and maybe like David's firm, where you've got to have those people around you. If you're not the expert, I'm not that expert. Okay, I am not. Alicia, how many times I call Alicia and say, okay, this house is on the market for X. Is that really worth X or not? I mean, tell me the truth.
Right.
And that's where I think I really love working with you, because you have that expertise. You're a top agent. You've been doing this for so long. You can really guide those buyers, as to, okay, no, well, give an example. It's listed here, but Alicia will say to me, I don't think it's going to sell there. And so we need to think about, okay, where would it sell as is right now? So give me some guidance there. I mean, if you're telling someone they're walking into a house and it's worth or it's listed by the other agent, they valued it with the seller at X. And let's just say it's one of those outdated houses with,
Or it
really.
could not be an outdated house. I think you and I shared an example. You brought to my attention a condo that you liked here in Uptown, and so it had been on the market for 160 days. Now it could be valued correctly, or there could be something that's holding it back. In this particular case, it didn't have any outdoor space. It didn't have a balcony, which was extremely important in Uptown. So it's like, why hasn't it sold? Well, it's the outdoor space that's driving it not to sell. What is it? You have to have an expert. In the suburbs, it could be that the house has been put back on the market. That's where it becomes really tricky. I have clients go, it's been on the market 90 days. I'm like, there's no way this property's been on the market for 90 days. It is priced correctly. Don't be deceived by the days on market. And what had happened in that particular case is that it had gone under contract and had an extension and another extension with a loan officer who couldn't get the deal closed. And so what happened is it looked like it'd been on the market for a long time. So the client who didn't know any better thought, I need to make a lower offer. Obviously nobody else wants it. By the time they got that offer in there, even though we said that's not the case. Now, a realtor can call and say, why has this been on the market? And the other realtor will share with her that. But if they don't make that extra move and the client doesn't trust what the realtor's telling them, then they're going to lose out on a really great deal. And in this particular case, the client was like, no, I think that there's something wrong, or it's just priced too high. And so work with a good realtor who's been doing it for a long time, and she's going to give you some reasonable reasons why the house is staying on the market.
That's interesting, because I'm in the business, and it's an obvious thing to me, but I didn't really think about it. And a lot of times when I go online and I think, what is it, 95% of people start their search on the internet and then they call you, so they kind of do a little bit of that. On the old days, they'd have to go to the MLS book or whatever, but now you've got the access to the internet. You can see the days on the market, and I didn't really think about that. That house could have been under contract, so really you're not going to be able to come in and go under list price. In fact, you probably would have to go over list,
especially
as
in today's market.
Contract.
Right. You have to understand the information that you're reading, because it can be very tricky in many situations in today's market. Also, a reduction. A house has been sitting on the market, and then all of a sudden it has a $15,000 reduction, but it's been on the market for 90 days. Well, now it's priced correctly, and guess what's going to happen? They're going to get multiple offers, probably over the list price, and people just don't realize that that's what's going on. So I think the consumer today, you really want to search out who your realtor is, and you want to make sure that she knows her marketplace. And something that has been mentioned to me several times lately is your realtor needs to be confident when she's talking to you. You always know and recognize a confident person, and if they know what they're talking about. There's no hesitation in their voice. They're telling you need to do this, and when you're working with someone who knows their business.
And really, I mean, if you're listening and you need that realtor in your corner, and it doesn't cost you anything as a buyer to have a realtor that's making this bid for you, because the seller's going to pay that fee to the realtor that's representing you in Texas. I mean, that's a great thing. And I really think that you need to pick up your phone right now. If you're thinking about buying, put in this number, 817-925-2546. That's 817-925-2546. Send a text to the show, buy or sell. We've got Alicia Trevino in the studio today, someone I rely on and trust for values and advice in the real estate market. And I really think if you reach out to us, we're going to put you in touch with Alicia. She'll either help you yourself, or if she's got a person in the market that's closer to you that she feels going to be a better fit, she'll be part of that, and then also get some assistance from one of her agents as well. How many agents do you have in your firm?
We have 60 agents in our firm, and they work all areas. We have some that even specialize in Fort Worth, so we can certainly assist you out there. But yes, definitely call us. If it's an area that we don't have an expert in, then we'll go ahead and refer you to the top agent in that area. Absolutely, we can help you anywhere in the Metroplex. Another underserved, and I want to mention this, Steve, because I think it's so important. What we're seeing is our first-time home buyers are not the younger generation like we used to have. We used to have 21-year-olds who would go out and buy their first home, 25 to 27. What we're seeing is that segment of buyers grew up in a time when their parents were struggling a great deal, and real estate investment was a bad value, and all they heard was, we're struggling, we're going into foreclosure, we're having to short sell our home. And I don't think what they realize is, because they grew up with this environment and this talk about the real estate being really bad, that they don't realize that it's a good investment again. And I think they've been they just went through a time and they learned something that has been not the norm in the United States as a whole. Everybody wanted to own a home. Everybody wanted to, have home ownership, and they knew that that's where they needed to put their money. I think they need to realize that now is the time, that it has gone back to that you can feel secure in buying a home and not feeling like you're just throwing money out the window. I really would like to see more and more people talk to the younger generation and say, don't lease. You need to invest your money in purchase.
Well, and when I grew up, that's what my father told me. Two things he told me. You need to buy investment property, and you also need to buy your own home as soon as you can, because home values back in the early 80s, we had gone through a tough time, and things were coming back at that point. And just like the stock market's cyclical, the real estate market is as well. And I think it is the time to get off the bench, get in the game. Get out your cell phone. Make sure you reach out to us. We're going to put you in touch with the expert in the marketplace, be it Dallas or Fort Worth or any of the surrounding communities. We've got the right people, the real experts on our show here at Real Talk Texas, and we'll help you with the financing here at Affiliated Bank at my office. So go ahead and pull out your cell phone, 817-925-2546. That's 817-925-2546. Just put in buy or sell. We're going to put you in touch with the right people. We're going to make sure that we give you the best advice, and then you make up your mind as to what you want to do. But we've got real good people that can help you out. It's a great time to get off the bench, into the game. The real estate market is hot, and you better get in now, or in another 6 months we're going to be saying we told you so again. So you're listening to Real Talk Texas. Thanks for listening. We'll tune in next week. We're here every week at noon on Sundays. You're listening to KLIF AM 570 News and Information.